Hello everyone, Storm101 here. Today we'll be taking a look into we'll be having an update on the active pattern that's been going on across portions of the United States here. We're focusing on three different systems over the next week or so. We got one that'll be coming in tomorrow night across portions of the Midwest. We're also watching the Southern Plains may actually have a decent snow event, which that may also continue into portions of the Ohio Valley. We're also watching another system late next week that could bring the possibility for a winter storm. Now, there's some very high uncertainties, but we'll talk about that anyways. So, let's go ahead and get started with the GFS model here. So, our next system, well, our first one, will be starting tomorrow night. This is December 11th at 7 o'clock. You can see here how our low pressure system does deepen under 1,000 millibars. You can see here across southern Michigan, even into northeastern Illinois and also central Michigan, we're seeing a pretty decent swath of snow that be going on across some of these regions here. Which could put down a decent amount of snow across those regions there. Then your low pressure system dies down. Here comes our next one, focusing on across the Southern Plains. We got a wave of low pressure, or a piece of energy, there, and you can see here, uh, brings in a pretty good amount of snow across Oklahoma there as well. Then we're going to see what's going to happen from here. Model's been going back and forth with this setup here, especially across, the Ohio River Valley, where the NAM model back on the 12Z run was showing a pretty good swath of snow along the Ohio River, and some other models disagree with that, but we'll mention the possibility for some snow across portions of Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois, and possibly into the lower Ohio Valley as well. So there goes that system, and here comes our next system that everybody's been talking about. So we'll have two pieces of energy or two low pressure systems. There's one right here over Kentucky, bringing in a good amount of snow across Indiana. We also got another low pressure system just southeast of South Carolina. And eventually these two here are going to be phasing, or you could say joining forces, and bam, there you go. You can see a pretty good swath of heavy snow along the east coast there in the mid-Atlantic and up across the northeast as well. Meanwhile, you got an upper level low going on around Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana, bringing in some snow showers. You can see here, that system could bring a really good swath of snow there as well. If we look at the snowfall amounts for the GFS, there goes system number one, which has backed off snowfall amounts across Iowa and Wisconsin, although it's still pretty much the same across Michigan. They're seeing snowfall amounts possibility up to 8 inches there. You can see there across southern Wisconsin, probably 1 to 3 inches, and even backs down through Iowa, back into Nebraska. And talk about our next system here, could possibly bring another decent amount of snow, possibly up to 4 or 5 inches of snow, indicated by the GFS here. And then watching our next system, you can see here, here's your two pieces of energy. Wave number one does bring in a good amount of snow across Indiana and Ohio, possibly up to 6 inches. And then you got Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, and far southern New York State could possibly see over a foot of snow. Now, obviously, this is going to change here, and one of them also is already doing that, which I'll show you guys that in a moment. But generally, the possibility is there. We'll just put that out there since other people have been mentioning about it. We'll just say the possibility is there, but we're still quite far out, so it's likely going to change. Let's move on to the Canadian model. You can see here comes wave number one. Brings a pretty good swath of snow anywhere from Iowa through Wisconsin into Michigan there. Here comes wave number two, which also brings a pretty good swath of snow across Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, and the Texas Panhandle. And for people that live, Kentucky, Tennessee, we're gonna see how far south the slow could get. If it trends further north, it's gonna get closer to that colder air, and when it does so, there's a possibility we could see snow on the northern end side of that. So we'll be watching that there closely as well. And then our next system. Now the Canadian model was very similar to the other ones on the last run, but now the 12Z doesn't show a winter storm at all. Too far off the coast, too weak. It's much weaker. So that's something you gotta watch for with these smalls. It's always gonna back off at some point and probably go back and forth pretty much all the time. We'll see if it goes back to the solution or we'll see the malls do trend towards the Canadian. But that's pretty much the only one that's showing at this point, so yeah on that. So we'll take a look at the snowfall maps. We're using a different website because tropical activities for snowfall not really loading in well for me. So much higher totals across Iowa, up to a foot of snow indicated by the Canadian. Probably a little bit overdone with the snowfall amounts across Iowa. You can see it dies down when it gets into southern Wisconsin, possibility of 8 inches of snow. And then we have higher confidence for central and northern Michigan that could see possibly at least up to 8 inches of snow. Probably could be a little bit higher. But this is only happening tomorrow night. We're seeing some very high uncertainties, which is a big issue for the forecast. So I may release an official forecast on this tomorrow, but we'll just see about that. Moving on to the European model, there goes your first system here, which does bring in a pretty good amount of snow across eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, eventually getting into central Michigan. Here comes your another wave here of snow going on across the southern plains. For this scenario with this system here, does bring in some very heavy snow across the mountains. There, the Appalachian Mountains there. And that goes away. Here comes your next system. So you got one low pressure system across Kentucky and Indiana and another one across South Carolina. They'll be phasing, they'll join forces, and you can see it brings in a really good swath of snow across the northeast, and then it's gone already. We'll take a look at some of these snowfall accumulations here from the European model. You can see there goes system number 1. Does bring in up to 8 inches of snow across Iowa, eventually getting into Wisconsin and northern Illinois. I think that's the max probability here. I think if we're going to see overachievers across some of these areas, it could possibly be up to 8 inches. That's my thinking there. And probably similar way up to Michigan. Could be a little bit overdone, but the possibility that we could see up to 10 inches of snow across Michigan. So pretty decent agreement between the Canadian and the European model, which they've been a little bit consistent with that. And then here comes the next system here. It does bring in maybe up to 6 inches of snow across portions of Oklahoma, Kansas, and also the Texas Panhandle there as well, which we got pretty good confidence on that as well, but it's still a couple days away, so it'll probably change some more. And talk about the heavy snow across the mountains, possibly up to 8 inches there in the Smokies, in North Carolina and Tennessee. And there goes your other system, possibly up to 4 inches of snow across Indiana and Ohio. And then it spits out up to nearly 2 feet of snow across portions of the Northeast. And obviously, this is going to change some more, actually a lot more, since we are very far out. This is a week out. So again, this is likely going to change. And probably take this forecast as a grain of salt there. But something very interesting here is looking into the GFS ensembles, you can actually tell where some of these waves are. Now this is averaging out of 20 members of the GFS ensembles and puts it into an average and you get this map here. Again, possibly up to 10 inches of snow across Michigan, eventually getting back into Wisconsin, perhaps up to 6 inches, probably 5.5 inches to Iowa, and eventually getting back to Nebraska, possibly up to 4 inches. We'll see if models do trend probably the same way, or it's going to trend lower like GFS. We're going to see. Then you got possibly up to 3 inches of snow across portions of Oklahoma into Kansas. And then here's your other system. You can see here, keep in mind this is on an average. Pretty decent agreement for possibly up to 6 inches of snow. But again, it's likely to change. But that's something quite interesting there that we have a pretty good agreement this far out. But I do expect this to get more disagreement and also change around a lot more. So I do expect that to happen. And this is kind of the overall of what's going on here. So areas in light blue, chances of winter storm is starting to become a little bit more likely at this point here. There's a possibility some areas could see up to 8 inches of snow, mainly really in Michigan, but for some other areas, it's possibly up to 5 or 6 inches of snow at the max there. You can see here it goes from southeastern Nebraska through southern eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, far northern Illinois, and eventually getting into central Michigan. The timing of that's going to be Friday night into Saturday night. Areas in the dark blue. This is Sunday morning getting into Monday. There could be a decent amount of snow across, Oklahoma, Texas. Probably going to be expanding that a little bit more into Kansas. Also, as well as southeastern Colorado. Seems like the chances are really coming down for a lot of snow across Arkansas, southern Missouri at this point here for some of those areas, so you guys might not get to see much snow. And then getting up into across the Ohio Valley there, there's some very high uncertainties with this as well, and it's probably going to change around some more there as well. But the timing again, it's going to be Sunday morning into Monday. Then areas in the pink, this is where we have that winter storm potential from Wednesday morning into next Thursday night of next week. Now that timing is likely to change around, but that's just what we kind of have with the timing for right now. Now, this is likely going to change again. The high uncertainty does still exist. It still exists, to keep in mind of that. And this is likely to change around some more. You can see it kind of goes from the Appalachian states up across it to the Northeast as well. We'll watch the trends on all these systems here very closely, and I may give you guys an update on this tomorrow. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you really like my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, you can put in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.